Hello, welcome to Light Running UK. My name's Adam and today we are going to cover how to build a shoe rotation. So if you're a newer runner and you're thinking about maybe moving on from just a single shoe and you're looking to try and maybe develop a shoe rotation, I'm going to quickly go through some hints and tips in terms of how to build your first shoe rotation, what shoes it should include or can include, and we'll cover some of the minefield that can become a shoe rotation and give you some hints and tips, help you to build your first one. So this was a bit of a topic that I not struggled with early on, but when I came back to running, obviously shoes had blown up. There's far more variety now than there ever used to be. In years gone by, it used to just be you'd get a running trainer, you'd run in that until it wore down or the foam kind of died, and then you just replace it with a similar one or a different type of a different brand, but you would basically just get the one running shoe. In the last few years, everything's kind of exploded and you've got kind of niche areas in terms of what each running shoe is for. So I'll quickly cover the categories first, and then I'll cover how to build a running shoe rotation, or how I would personally go about building a running shoe rotation if you're just starting out or if it's new to you. It's probably the easiest way of building it. And how many do you need? You don't go mad and get loads and loads of shoes, and most people won't need lots. So we'll dive straight into the episode. Hopefully some of these hints and tips will help newer runners build their first running shoe rotation if you need one, and help your running progress even more. So like I touched upon, there's now a whole host of different categories that running shoes fall within, and again a lot of them are kind of manufactured for specific purposes. Some do a lot more than others. Some are very, like I said, nichey and focus on one specific distance or one specific type of running, whether it be fast or slow, etc. So in terms of the categories, there's a whole host of categories, but some of the main ones are daily trainers. Again, these are the jack of all trade carpet traders, where they do a bit of everything quite well. So they're not specific for any like speed work or long runs or marathons or 5Ks or intervals. They just do a bit of everything. They can be used for easy runs. They can be used for just getting out there. These are the shoes that you generally grab more regular than others. Whatever run you're going to do, you can stick them on and they'll do the job for you. So these are daily trainers. These are the most common type of running shoes you'll find. You've got speed shoes, which again are generally lighter, slightly more responsive, sometimes plated with carbon plates or nylon plates, and again a bit more propulsive for speed works, interval works. These can also double up as a race day shoe. Again, if you're trying to save some money, race day speed shoes are very similar. You've got trail shoes, which again are specific to running off-road or on trails, or basically on woodlands and hills and etc. Not on the road, not on concrete and tarmac. So again, slightly bigger lugs, slightly more protection in the toe box, slightly, sometimes generally a firmer foam just to give you a bit more underfoot protection. You've also got easy day or recovery shoes. Again, these generally have a slightly bigger stack height. They're probably slightly more comfortable in terms of squishy, softer foams to protect the legs a little bit longer for those easy days and recovery runs, so your legs don't get battered all the time. These are becoming more and more prominent, and again you see these higher stack shoes getting more and more taller and taller to protect the legs more and more. You've got obviously a race day shoe, which I touched upon is kind of the speed shoe, but again there is some specific race day shoes which are quite expensive, £200 plus. Again, plated, super light, biggish stack with really responsive technology and foam. Generally plated, really very light uppers, etc. But these are race day shoes. And obviously, you've also got like maybe a long run shoe. So again, some shoes are more geared towards the longer runs rather than the shorter speed stuff. They'll be geared to protect the legs more. They've maybe got a bit more stability. They've maybe got energy efficiency geometry in terms of a rocker or on the outsole, just in terms of helping you to run more efficiently over a longer period of time. Again, sometimes they're plated to help again keep the propulsion going when your legs starting to get a bit more tired. So that's the general overview of the categories. So does everyone need a running shoe rotation? Not everyone does need a running shoe rotation. If you're a fairly new runner or you've not long started and you're only going out maybe a handful of times, once or twice a week, and you're not running super high mileage yet, you're only running like maybe a couple of miles and a couple of K here and there, one daily trainer shoe should be sufficient to cover your needs. Use that for all your runs, doesn't matter what type of run you do, it'll be good enough for what you need it to be. Use that, run it into the ground like everyone else does, and then go and get another shoe, either the same brand or different, whatever your preference is. But that should suffice. Don't go and, I don't think everyone needs to go and get a running shoe rotation if you don't need one. It's just not a waste of money, but it's a bit over the top really. who are running shoe rotations for? It's those that maybe starting to do slightly higher mileage, or starting taking the running a bit more seriously, and they want specific shoes for specific jobs. So they want a daily trainer, but when they're doing the speed work, they want a better shoe or a faster shoe to do that speed work in. Like me, I started to go off-road a bit more, so I wanted a specific trail shoe rather than just trying to make do with a road shoe on a trail surface. So what I say is not everyone needs a running shoe rotation, but if you've decided you do need a running shoe rotation, the best way to do it, what I find, is to reverse engineer it. So you want to look at your needs. What are your needs? Do you need a trail shoe? Do you need a speed shoe? Most people need a daily train. That's the kind of staple of the rotation. Do you need a long run shoe or a recovery shoe? How many shoes do you need? So I'd start off with probably the 2 to 3 window. Most people can make do with a 2 or 3 shoe rotation. That'll probably cover most of your needs and keep the costs low. You don't need to go and buy 4, 5, 6 shoes. It's a bit unnecessary and again a bit over exuberant. So reverse engineer it, figure out your needs. So for my first rotation, which I did 2 years ago, again prior to that I'd just done the single shoe thing where you just get a shoe, you run and you wear it out and then you go and replace it. So 2 years ago was my first rotation. I wanted to go off-road, so I wanted a specific trail shoe. I knew I needed a daily trainer because I was going to do the bulk of my running, and I wanted a lighter, speedier shoe for intervals and speed work and potentially race days. So I built myself a 3 shoe rotation. I got my speed shoe, which was my Hoka Rincon. I got my daily trainer, which was my Reebok Float Ride, and I got my trail shoe, which was the New Balance Nitro V4. And that was my rotation. It lasted me. I've still got all 3 shoes now. It's 18 months. About 18 months later, and I'm still utilising them all. They're starting to wear down now. They're probably at the end of their lifespan because I've integrated them into a bigger rotation now. But again, 3 shoes was sufficient for the first 12 months. They were the only 3 shoes I owned. I used them for all my runs, off-road, on-road, speeds, work, etc. I did my races in the Rincons. I did most of my training in the Reeboks with a bit of training in the Hokas for the speed interval stuff. And every trail run I did it in the New Balance. So that's how I did it. But again, I met my need, figured out what I needed, and went and bought to match that need. So again, not everyone needs the same needs as me. Do you need a trail shoe? Yes or no? If you're not going to run off-road at all, then again, remove that from the equation. Most people definitely need a daily trainer, so I said that is the staple of the rotation. I'd get a daily trainer, and obviously there's a whole host of shoes that can come into that category. Do a bit of research. There's no point me listing 20, 30 shoes that come under the daily trainer, but it's some you can do a bit of research. But most brands will do a solid daily trainer. Like I said, all the big brands do. Go and find your preference or try a few on. Again, if you've only ever run in one brand, try different brands. Some shoes fit better than others, some feel better to other people, some have a wider toe box, a shorter fit, a longer fit, a comfier feel, different geometry in terms of the rockers. Hokas are known for the geometry in terms of helping to run and flip through the gait cycle quickly. I know I've got preferences in terms of I like Reebok shoes, I like Adidas shoes. Asics are okay, but they're a bit hit and miss for me. New Balance are solid, but they're not really massively exciting to me. But again, everyone will go and find their own preference. And then, like I said, reverse engineer it. So if you don't need a trail shoe, then disregard. You need a daily trainer. Do you want a speed? I think you could double up and do a speed/race day shoe. So it's a slightly lighter, slightly quicker shoe. Most people would potentially want one of those, so you can do a bit of speed work training in it within the block, but then you kind of hold it back for your race day because it's this lighter, quicker, more responsive shoe, which when you get in after your training shoe, you automatically get a bit of a boost and a bit of a benefit on race day as well. And then do you need a recovery or an easy day shoe? Some people do, some people don't. You could just do your recovery runs, easy runs within your daily trainer. Again, it's your choice in terms of how much budget have you got. So they're the 3 things: reverse engineer it, figure out your needs, work out your budget, and then within that you can then go out and find the shoes you need and the shoes you want. Obviously there's infinite options, infinite combinations. If you've got a large budget, you can go and get the better, higher quality shoes if you wish. I tend to spend not a lot of money on my rotations. I haven't got a lot of surplus budget. So 2 years ago, my 3 shoe rotation was about £160, I think it was, give or take, for all 3 shoes: the Rincon, the Float Ride, and the New Balance. This year, I decided to go even cheaper, and I did a really budget shoe rotation. So I bought a daily trainer / speed shoe for the Asics Jolt, which was budget, and then I bought the New Balance 680 V7, which was my solid daily trainer / long run shoe because it's a dual density shoe, and I bought the Adidas Durango 10, which was a daily trainer / easy day recovery shoe. So they were all 3 really daily trainers, but they've got slightly more slightly different, slightly different strengths and weaknesses. So, but again, they've got all those three for less than £120. So I say I go on the cheaper end. I don't generally go and buy expensive shoes, but each to their own. That is a quick overview. That's how I would do it. Again, just look at it from a reverse engineering point of view. Figure out your needs, figure out your budget, figure out what running you're going to be doing, and then go out and buy the shoes on that basis. Like I said, look at different brands. It's not a minefield, but there is a massive variety. There's different heel to toe drops. There's different stack heights. Find your preference. Some people like ground feel, i.e. lower stack. Some people don't mind not having no ground feel, and if I prefer a high stack, on a sliding scale, I prefer less ground feel and a bit more comfort. Heel to toe drops, do you like a lower drop, like an Ultra shoe, a zero drop? Do you like a higher drop, so like Reeboks and some of the other, I think Adidas sometimes have a higher drop as well, at 8-9 millimeters plus. Hoka's generally around the middle, about 5 millimeters. Asics are about the same, 5 or 6 millimeters heel to toe drop. Again, find your preference, find what works best for you. And just to wrap it up, so why did I initially put a shoe rotation together after years of just running with one shoe? One, because my mileage was creeping up. I was going from 20, 30 kilometres a week to marathon training, so I was going up to 50, 60, 70 kilometres a week. And that's continued now. I'm in half marathon training. I'm running similar distances now, 50, 60, 70 kilometres every week. In training, I knew that one shoe wasn't going to cut it. I couldn't be going out in that one shoe up 4 or 5 runs that week, hitting 70, 80k. Within a couple of months, that shoe would have been gone and I'd have to replace it anyway. So it extends the lifespan of a shoe if you've got it within a rotation, and you can, like I said, mix it in and out. You can use it for a couple of runs and then you put it to the side and you pick another shoe up and you use that one for a couple of runs, and obviously you alternate round. It extends the whole lifespan of all the shoes. Plus I had specific workouts within. Some of them were just solid kind of middle distance runs. Some of them were speedier runs, which I wanted a different shoe for that. Some of them were just deliberately recovery runs, so I wanted a lower drop, so it gets me off my toes. I wanted a higher stack or a comfier fit, so again, to protect the legs. So that's kind of why I did it. My mileage crept up. I wanted to have a range of shoes I could use for my training, and plus as well, sometimes it does help with injury prevention, having different drop shoes, different stack heights, different foam densities and different kind of squishiness helps the legs. You don't just run in one shoe with the same drop, with the same feel, with the same outsole and the same everything. Then suddenly you put a different shoe on and it's completely different. Your gait changes, your stride length changes, and sometimes that's when you can pick up an injury. Having a regular altering of the shoe alters how my run, my foot lands, etc. And it strengthens the foot and the legs generally. That's what I found through the research. And again, as I've progressed through my running shoe rotation, I'm using them more and more, I am getting less and less injuries, touch wood. So that's the basic overview. Hopefully you'll find some benefit of that. Hopefully you'll get some information from that. And if you're wanting to start to develop a running shoe rotation for the first time, you can go out now and have a bit more information in terms of how you would do that. Again, it's not for everyone. Don't feel you have to go out and go and get a running shoe rotation. Most people can manage with 1 or 2 shoes. So yeah, there you go. Drop in the comments if you've got any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions about running shoe rotations or running shoes generally. Drop in the comments if you've put your first ever shoe rotation together and what you've decided to buy and why. It'd be interesting to see. Like I said, everyone's got their own opinions. I'm not going to sit here and preach in terms of explaining what shoes you should go and get this shoe or you should go and get that shoe. Everyone can make their own decisions. You go and get whatever shoe you want. Good luck with your running. Hopefully it progresses and hopefully you're having your training is going well if you are training, or if you're just running for fun. Again, go out and enjoy your running. I do appreciate everyone watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting the button, and I will see everyone on the next one.